Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bacon. Also, welcome to Cinderella phenomenon Evermore. I'm so glad I had my mic off during that intro music video. This time I decided to go ahead and look at it just because, last time it wasn't part of the story plot. It was just an intro video, so I didn't want to miss out on it this time. And holy crap, I was losing it. That was not, the video itself was nice. It's just, again, the song was so cheesy. I was losing it. I was absolutely losing it, but the art's very nice. I like her new design. I really like the flower in her hair. I like that she's holding a quill. That's all really nice. I like the whole thing. Okay. And one other thing that I have to say is that I did not truly realize that I was done with the first game until I went to try to load it to record, and I was like, this isn't the right game. This isn't the other game I'm supposed to be playing now. It has been such a part of my routine, just Monday through Friday, daily for weeks, over a month actually, that it didn't register that it was over. You know what I mean? And now I'm kind of sad that it's over, but I'm excited because we're getting into this. Alright, let's see what's going on. Okay, so there's right choice indicators, just like last time. And no, I'm not turning it off. We need those! Good things come to those who wait until midnight. So they're going to incorporate the midnight part of the Cinderella story then. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a princess. She was known as the Ice Princess, named for her frigid heart and unyielding coldness towards others, which I think this is the little video that they showed you to kind of introduce the sequel at the end of the other game. Yeah. The princess shunned all who sought to help her. She was scared to go out into the world, so she locked herself up in her palace. Then one day, the Ice Princess became the victim of the infamous fairy tale curse and was forced to go from riches to rags, excuse me. As the princess struggled to come to terms with her new life, she met a very special man. The two endured much strife, helping each other overcome various ordeals. In the end, they emerged victorious. The special man thawed the princess's ice heart and dried her dampened spirits. The two vowed to love each other for the rest of time. They lived happily ever after. But what happens after happily ever after? Guess we're gonna find out. Yes, we're sticking to that name. Choose your path. Choose your fighter. I gotta admit, I am more and more tempted to just go straight to Rod's. I kind of don't want to do Rumples, to be honest, or Chevaliers, rather. Oh, but I already said I wanted to just get Chevaliers out of the way. I know me well enough to know if I don't go ahead and get his out of the way, I'll do the same thing I did last time, when he'll be the very last, and I might end up miserable. I want to be happy the rest of the game, so let's just get Chevaliers out of the way. The Lucis Bearer. Oh, that's cool! Little envelope. Lucette. What happens if I click on the envelope? A voice reaches out to me from the depths of my mind, soft and gentle. Though I have not heard it in years, I recognize it immediately. Oh, it's a save! That's cool! Okay. And is this to go back? Yeah, okay, that's a much easier save. Mother? Oh, her face is very different. It's supposed to be 2 years later, right? So she is supposed to look different. Her eyes are much more narrow. I kind of feel like I would have liked her eyes to stay wide, but I guess it's just to indicate that she's not a teenager anymore, technically. She's 20, right? So it's supposed to indicate that she's an adult by having less wide eyes. Ah, my dearest heart. Mother. I rush toward her, but Mother steps away from me before I can touch her. Why are you running to your mother, whom was already well established to be evil, even in Chevalier's route? I came to see how the traitor was doing, but it seems you are still just as incompetent as when I left you. Mother, A strand of electricity snakes up my arm, breaking apart the rest of my words. I collapse to my knees with a cry of pain. What a disappointment you are, Lucette. Had you revived me, you would not be so weak. Angel would not be so weak. You're a pathetic ruler, daughter. Mother. And you are a failure as a witch. The sparks return the moment the words leave her mouth. This time the electricity envelops my whole body, making the world shimmer dangerously. I really, really hope, for all other routes' sake, that she is not actually returned in any way, shape, or form. That this is just like a bad dream, and that something else is going on. Tears gather in my eyes. Mother, please, I'm trying my best. You will fail, dearest heart, because you do not know what it means to be a witch. Child, what? No, baby girl. Meow. Meow. We feed off negativity and chaos. Love serves us no power. You will see that in time. And when that happens, my love, a sardonic smile touches her lips as she fades away. Remember that I will not be there for you. I wake with my heart pounding erratically in my ears. Mother. I press a hand to my forehead and squeeze my eyes shut. A tendril of electricity snaps across my fingers, and I am only able to will it away after calming my heart. When I open my eyes, it is not darkness I see, but my own room. It was just a dream. I quiet my breathing as I glance around. Everything's exactly as it always is, except for one thing. My gaze snags on a figure silhouetted in moonlight. He is hunched over a table, paper scattered around him. Chev? She's calling him Chev like I was originally going to call him. That's funny. I stand and make my way over to him. Chevalier has fallen asleep at my table with an arm folded beneath his head. At least this time he remembered to take off his glasses. The last time Chevalier fell asleep writing letters, he crushed his glasses. I notice he's been drifting off more frequently at his desk ever since he moved into the palace. So is that why he has new glasses? Is because he destroyed the other ones by falling asleep on them? It's only been a few weeks since he accepted my father's invitation to become the palace's official physician, but he is already so stressed. I reached out to touch his shoulder, but then pause. As much as I would like to have him come to bed, he might not be able to fall back asleep once I wake him. I suppress a laugh. Chevalier is not even supposed to be in my room this late, but he really does accidentally drift off here. Okay. Gonna save. Ooh, and that's an easy save and load, too. I mean, it was easy before, but slightly easier now. Just a little bit. Just the tiniest bit. Wake him, let him sleep. Okay, so she wants to let him sleep, and if we're basing it off of anything like the last game, it's typically what is she most likely to do? But then again, with Chevalier's route, the last original route was, you were supposed to be mean to him all the time, which I appreciated because he was not good. We're gonna let him sleep. I know Chevalier. He has a tendency to worry. If I wake him, he will be unable to fall asleep again. I would rather he rest. He needs it. I pull my hand away and walk back to my bed. I pause briefly to glance at the gardens and the city beyond them. The moonlight settles on Angia like a blanket, making all of the buildings glimmer faintly like stars. Somewhere in the sprawling town is the Marchen, where Delora and Senna sleep under one roof. Senna. Is that, Parfait's little cousin or whoever it is that takes over? Aha! Yep. Senna is Parfait's only cousin and the only possible heir to the Lucis. Apparently Parfait was keeping his identity secret because she did not want to place the burden of Baron on him at so young an age. None of us knew of his existence until he showed up at the Marchen's doorstep one day, insisted that he be allowed to stay so that he could take over Parfait's duties. Ever since Senna moved to Angiel, I've been having more nightmares of Mother. I wonder if this has anything to do with the imbalance between the Tenebrarum and Lucis. My closeness with the Tenebrarum, which is the crystallum that balances the darkness of this kingdom, makes me more prone to nightmares. They have been decreased over the years, thankfully, but for some reason this week has been difficult. I sigh as I fall back on my bed, my fingers moving to the bridge of my nose as I try to brush aside the nightmare. Maybe I should go for a walk. I leave the room quietly so as not to disturb Chevalier. I am only out long enough to clear my mind. When I return, I am finally able to fall asleep. I didn't see a crystal, so I'm assuming, and it's only giving us 6 slots, it looks like. Alright, now No, I want to go back to this, and I want to load that. There we go. Yes. Okay, wake him. I gently set a hand on his shoulder. Chevalier? Chevalier mumbles something in his sleep as I shake him. I pull my hand away as he blinks his eyes open. Princess? Is it morning? No, it is just past midnight, which is why you ought to be in bed. Chevalier glances around slowly. After a few moments, he smiles sheepishly. Ah, I've done it again, haven't I? Yes, you have. I know I should get him to bed now, but I remember the nightmare. It was more vivid than usual, and though it's possible it's just a normal nightmare, I have my doubts. Did you have another nightmare, Lucette? Chevalier is always able to read me so easily. It was a small thing. He reaches out to press a palm to my cheek and smiles softly. At least he doesn't look as creepy when he smiles now. Would you like to talk about it? We can talk tomorrow. Or we can talk right now. You know I'm always willing to listen. I frown at him, but he just continues smiling his sleepy smile at me. I sigh. Fine, I will tell you, but first, sit. I point to the bed. Chevalier is more than happy to oblige. He seats himself beside me in the bed. I also like his outfit in this one, too. I recount the dream to him. I also appreciate that, though, he doesn't have an additional ear piercing right here, any additional earring, that they kept the piercing hole, which is realistic. Not that they need to be realistic or anything like that. I don't know why, but sometimes little details like that make me happy. I recount the dream to him. When I am done, Chevalier no longer looks tired. I wonder if this is a nightmare fueled by the Tenebrarum. Could it be? As a Tenebrarum bearer, I am prone to nightmares, but they have been notably worse since Senna came to Andiel. I'm wondering if maybe it's because the citizenry still have a fear of her mother and they are having nightmares, and maybe she's having like a weird collective nightmare thing about that. Senna's Parfait's cousin. Especially not so young an age. Senna appeared regardless. Ever since he started living at the March, I have been having strange nightmares. But what could the nightmares have to do with him? Chevalier leans forward and wraps an arm around my waist, pulling me from my thoughts. He plants a tender kiss on my forehead. Whether or not the Tenebrarum fueled it, a nightmare is still just a nightmare. I think in her own way, your mother wanted the best for you. I think she would be proud of you. Oh, Chevalier, why, you're still making assumptions of things you really shouldn't be making assumptions of things about. We'll see Senna at the Marchant tomorrow, so perhaps you should bring up your concerns then. You didn't start having nightmares this lucid until he shut up after all. Chevalier continues to console me. He's always been good at it. Soon, I relax enough to doze on his shoulder. The circumstances never matter. I always feel so safe with him. Those are my last thoughts before I fall asleep in his arms. I didn't see a crystal that time either. I'm very, very confused. I'm gonna save on number 3. Right choice. Yeah, I've got the right choice indicator on. I don't know. I'm not sure which one is correct then, and I'm gonna have to like... I'm gonna go through this one first, because that one seems like it's the more correct choice, because it brings them closer, it has more interaction with them, the two of them. But I'm gonna keep number 2 and leave it there, just in case there's still no right choice indicator, and I hate that they don't do that immediately still. The first thing I notice when I wake up this morning is Chevalier, who is seated at my desk feeling envelopes. I rub my bleary eyes as I sit up in bed and yawn. Chevalier turns with a smile. Good morning, my sweet princess. I notice, despite his best efforts to smile honestly, that his eyes are foggy. I can tell by the twitch in his lips that he is not well rested. This is my fault for waking him last night. Were you able to sleep, Chev? Not even a good morning in response? Answer the question. He shakes his head. Don't worry, princess. I'm glad you woke me. I would have been devastated knowing you were suffering from a nightmare when I could have consoled you. But you look like you haven't slept at all. How long were you up? I think I managed 1 extra hour of sleep. Plus, he really shouldn't be sleeping at the desk anyway. That's horrible for your back. I groan as I fall back and get my pillows. Don't look so gloomy, Lucette. The sun is shining, the clouds have parted, and there's absolutely no rain in the forecast. Today promises to be a good day. It won't be ruined by something as trivial as insomnia. As always, Chev is ever the optimist, but he really does need to rest. I stand with a sigh. Fine then. Shall we get breakfast? When Chevalier first came to the palace and I invited him to breakfast, he was extremely nervous about sharing a meal with my family. I had to tell him multiple times that the king insisted he join us, not because he was to become the royal physician, but because he was becoming part of the family. Now the question always brings a smile to Chevalier's face. Oh dear. Yeah, he the same. Except now you can see one of the eyes when he's doing his weird, creepy, shiny shine. He flashes that broad smile at me now as he offers me his arm. Breakfast would be nice, yes. We head for the dining hall. I still have not seen an indicator. I have a bad feeling that that was the incorrect... No, we're gonna go with this one. The first thing I notice when I wake up in the morning is Chevalier, who is seated at my desk sealing envelopes. I rub my eyes blearily as I sit up in bed and yawn. Chevalier turns with a smile. Good morning, my sweet princess. I notice that his eyes are glimmering. He looks more lively than I have seen him in many, many days. Good morning. You look well rested. Oh, but I am. Your table is very comfy, Lucette. The bed is a lot more comfortable, you know. A valid point. I certainly prefer waking to the sight of your beautiful eyes, bright as the most precious gold. If that is the case, you should make a greater effort to pass out on the bed. And she blushy. But, I'm not even supposed to fall asleep in your room, am I? And yet you do so anyway. If you insist on staying, you ought to at least sleep on the bed. Father ought to have reprimanded me by now. The fact that he has not means he obviously does not care that much about Chevalier being in here. And I will try my best for you, sweet princess. He leans back in his chair, arms crossed. I hope you don't mind my saying, but you seem a little groggy this morning. As always, he's able to read me so easily. A nightmare kept me up last night. A nightmare? Lucette, you should have woken me. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, so it sounds like he hasn't really had much sleep in several days, that he has difficulty getting a full night's sleep, and that if of course what happened was you woke him up, so he worried, and therefore he was up all night. Okay? I think it was very sweet of Lucette, and it definitely proves that she is a good partner by wanting him to get decent sleep. That's a good partner thing to do. But what I'm concerned about, and something that the creators have done in the past, is that she might constantly be putting other people ahead of herself, and that they're going to try and indicate that that is the correct thing to do at all times. And that is what my concern is right now. It was just a nightmare, Chev. I did not want to disturb you for something so small. Your consideration warms my heart. But still, was this another Tenebrarum nightmare? I don't think so. It is hard to say. It seemed more vivid than the usual nightmares. I spend the next minutes detailing the nightmare to Chevalier. Even now, Mother's words are clear in my mind. I could not forget them even if I wanted to. Chevalier looks thoughtful. The dreams you remember are usually the ones fueled by the Tenebrarum. Perhaps this is somehow related to Cinna. The dreams have been worse since he came to Angel, yes? I nod. I do not know how he would be related to the Tenebrarum, but... Well, we can ask him today when we see him at the Marchen. Oh, and Lucette? He plops himself down on the bed, wraps an arm around my waist, and presses a kiss to my forehead. I hope you didn't take your mother's words to heart. From what you tell me, the mother you knew loved you in her own way. I don't think she would have ever wanted to see you suffer. And still... Just like in the last one. This is almost a little bit worse. She didn't want to see you suffer. At the end, she was fine with Lucette suffering. Severely fine with Lucette suffering. Like, to the point where she was happy to cause the suffering herself. So please don't make assumptions on things you don't know just because you... Don't do fluffy lies to try to comfort this person. That is something that seems to have translated over from the original game to here, is that he's still giving out fluffy lies to make people feel good. Oh my good gravy. I'm scared now. I'm real scared. And I actually think that I liked the first choice better than the second choice. I know. Are you sure you're okay? Lucette, you Before he can say anything else, I press my lips to his mouth. The kiss is my only answer. When I pull away, Chevalier is grinning at me. I'll take that as a yes. He wiggles his eyebrows at me, and I respond by jabbing him in the shoulder. Shall we get breakfast? When Chevalier first came to the palace... Okay, skip. And I'm gonna go ahead and save, again, this time on top of the wrong answer. I still feel like I like the first decision better. The hall is lively as usual this morning, though for an entirely different reason than usual. You're telling me you ran after the messenger because you had an important letter to send to Viorica. It was a very important invite for a luncheon. They're still causing antics. That's adorable. Normally it is Chevalier who sparks conversation on mornings like these. He and Father get along very well and usually discuss recent affairs and politics. This morning, however, Father and Ophelia are at a meeting and it's just Rod, Eme, Chevalier, and I here. Chevalier has been quietly listening to the conversation this whole time. He floats between being loquacious and quiet at the drop of a coin. Sometimes it feels as if he has two personalities, but I know the truth. He just likes eavesdropping. I turn my attention away from my finished plate to look at Emmeline and Rod. They have been discussing letters the whole morning. Emmeline usually sends letters to Viorica and Anise. Chevalier, unsurprisingly, is the one that brought Emmeline and Anise together. Bring all the female cinnamon rolls together, yes! Rod sends the majority of his letters to Brigantia. He has been considering going there to study foreign dance as a part of some exchange program. Way to go, Rod! Claude and his younger brother Lance were the ones to suggest the idea when they visited Angiel. Claude was particularly interested, saying that because Angiel hosted Brigantia royalty so often, they would be honored to host us as well. I'm very interested about what's going to go on in Claude's route too, just so everybody knows. I'm just more interested in Rod's. But then after Rod, I'll go with like Karma, Fritz, and then Waltz. Oh, I'm looking forward to all other routes but this one, basically. Claude proposed a trade-off. He insisted that the Brigantian royal family took Rod in, he would force us to take his brother Lance off his hands. Sometimes I wonder about the relationship they have. Seems like normal sibling stuff to me. The messenger from this morning is delivering letters over the border. Those letters were for Brigantia. Emily looks at him startled. When he raises an eyebrow, she smiles sheepishly. Really? I had no idea. If she was sending anyone in Brigantia a letter, it is probably Lance. The two of them get along very well. Oh, really? So they're shipping Emmeline to Lance, possibly? To, Karma's little brother? Huh. I'm certain the messenger would deliver messages to the post office before making the trip over to the border. He smiles at Emmeline. Your letters are in good hands, Princess Emmeline. Emmeline turns her grateful smile on Chevalier before pausing, curiosity lighting her eyes. What about your letters, Chevalier? He was up so late writing them that he fell asleep with a pen in his hand. I give him a pointed look. As usual. Chevalier smiles weakly. Those were important, I swear. He clears his throat, his expression melting into something more somber. I've been writing letters to the housing official to finalize a contract. Right, his deal with Anise. He's in the process of getting her the deed to his old clinic. I hope it's not too complicated. It's not, just time-consuming. Just make sure it doesn't stop you from sleeping. Chevalier laughs, eyes glittering with mirth. As you command, my sweet princess. After breakfast, Chevalier and I head to the market where we are to meet with Anise and Cinna, respectively. Okay, I'm gonna save right here. Yee. And I'm gonna go ahead and end things. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Bacon, and this so far has been Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. This is our first glance into it. We're gonna go ahead and get the route that I have deemed to be the worst possible route out of the way, and then we're gonna have lots and lots of fun. But I hope that you enjoyed the video nonetheless. If you liked the video, feel free to like the video. If you like me, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that lovely stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!